pleasure for me as a longtime fan to be sitting here with Aaron Gray.
Here with Larry Hama.
We're talking with Kevin J. Anderson, best-selling author.
Mr. Neil Adams.
I am here with David Fritz.
Axel Alonso, editor.
Shadow Stevens. And Devil's Comic-Con with John Delancey.
With Tom King.
Kevin Conroy.
Free comic book day.
Denise Crosby.
PopCon Pop Expo.
Here on location at Star Wars Celebration.
Sci-Fi Expo, talking for our second time with Gil Gerard.
Wichita, Kansas at Time Eddie.
David Gerald.
I've got Eric Flint.
Are here at Smallville Comic Con.
Wizard World St. Louis.
VillageCon in Bentonville, Arkansas.
Michael Lombardi.
We were talking with Alan Dean.
Quincy Allen.
Suzanne Landon.
Of Starlog Magazine, Mr. Kerry Oakwood.
Chris Sami.
Len Lee. Dave Schwartz. Mano Intirami. Jason Aaron.
This is Sci-Fi for Me, your portal to the science fiction multiverse.
The Immortal Mask, a 1970 superhero crime noir adventure that follows a retired soldier who is given a Covenant interview with a death row inmate. What he learns from the interview thrusts him into Atlanta's shadowy underworld. He will have to utilize his military training to survive from being hunted for the information that could topple the most powerful ruling class in the city. This is not a pre-order or a crowdfunding campaign. Get your books now at denali's.com.
Almost 2 decades ago, a kitsune appeared and began a reign of destruction in the world of Athenea. His intent was to slay the 9 gods of the realm, and he nearly succeeded. Called the Godslayer, he left many of the kingdoms of Athenea devastated or oppressed in his rampage. Finally, a small band of elite warriors tracked the Godslayer down and defeated him with his own sword. This did not turn out to be the victory they had hoped for. Upon his death, it was revealed that the Godslayer was possessed by one of the Yama Kings of the Thousand Hells. Mastema, the Yama King of Betrayal, was set free. Loosed from his mortal prison, Mastema continued his rampage in the lands of Athenea. While Mastema's onslaught has slowed since his separation from his kitsune host, his forces still draw ever closer to the last bastions of the world.
"25 seconds to curtain, folks."
Your favorite podcast is Critical Blast.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nathan Johns is in the house. A man of 2 names, Gage the Wolf or Nathan Johns. The internet's done wonderful things to our identities the last 10 years, hasn't it?
So Gage the Wolf is actually a role-playing character I had in Rifts, and he was a wolf dog boy, and I just always loved the name.
It works. So you're a role player too, right?
Oh yeah, I played Rifts. Was the first game I ever played, and then I've been game mastering White Wolf games since like 1994.
I'm kind of familiar with White Wolf. I've heard that name before. I don't know why.
Werewolf the Apocalypse, Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah. Okay, the Masquerade. That one I remember.
Yeah, we played a lot of Werewolf the Apocalypse and Changeling the Dreaming. Changeling the Dreaming is my player's favorite one right now. I've been playing it for about 7 years.
If you like role-playing games, I'm sure Pops would definitely recommend the role-playing game that Pops put it in the chat, because I didn't play the promo, so the name's not on the tip of my tongue here. But part of the network is they've got some role-playing games they do over there with the Madness Network. Glad to have you here tonight, Pops. And Mike Walters is also in the chat. Stop by to like and share the stream. Appreciate that as always. Get more people to be aware of what's going on. You know what? I went to our DMs today to find, the graphic link you had sent me, and I pulled that all out. I was like, we were talking before. It's like, it was a whole year went by.
Yeah. So I work for a company that makes medical devices, and we got really busy last year, and so there was that. And then I also tried to build a second title, and so that slowed me down a little bit. I ran into a lot of snags with it, and I wound up setting it aside.
Well, they have two live game streams at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern on Fridays over on the Madness Network. Woody's on a road trip listening in his car, so stay safe, Woody. Don't look at anything I talk about graphically on the screen tonight. Okay,
Pops, what are you playing though, man? What are you playing?
Yeah, Pops, what are you playing? I know he's playing. He's playing this Las Vegas game.
Is that the Fallout one?
But it's one that they've made.
Oh, that's still cool. Like, that would be a great role-playing game.
Yeah, they do a D&D on one stream, and then they do the Fallout-based one on the other one. But it's like not Fallout. It's a role-playing game based on Fallout.
That would still be a blast.
Well, apparently they're having a lot of fun at it. So, so the manufacturing day job, the medical job, that's going to keep you busy enough to take an entire year between issues at least, right?
No, I'm trying to speed that process up. But I've also started writing for someone else's. I format their script into paneling, and so I've got another comic I've been working on. I've finished 4 scripts on it. I'm not sure the creator's ready to have me talking about it, but I had to take on some paid gig. Comics cost money.
Sure. Yes, they do. I should do that to buy them. I just sell my plasma. That's how I buy comics.
So you literally bleed for comics.
It's blood money. Yeah, absolutely. It's Fallout Las Vegas they're playing, and he says it's based about 25 years before New Vegas. And if you would want to see how it's played, there is the link in the chat, folks. So, well, we're going to need to cut a promo from snippets of your live stream gameplay, Pops. That would make a good promo for that show. Just give us like 30 to 45 seconds of play. And not the part where everyone's like, what do I do now? No, get the good stuff,
See, and I've been GMing for years. I don't get to play that often. I always tell my role players that I'm like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I'm always the GM, never the player.
Yeah, but the good thing is you're still alive at the end of the game.
I think I've only had one game where they party wiped, and they've resented me for that. So
never trust a smiling game master.
That is so true.
Just say, you know what, boys? I hear my mother calling me. Y'all on your own. I'm going to turn around and quit this quest. Well,
and that's weird for me because I always got a silly grin on my face.
So we got a good recap of what Godslayer was, because last time it was like, kind of close to the vest here. There's this thing, and there's this guy, and it's a big sword, and I can't tell you anything. But pretty much spilled everything that happened in issue 1 on the trailer there. But expound.
So those are actually scenes from GODSLAYERS 2 in that. So we ended Godslayers episode 1 with Dust reaching the throne room of Mastema to steal the soul of the Godslayer from him. And we open in that throne room with Dust going to retrieve the soul. And so my sample's up on my Kickstarter right now. They don't have lettering yet, but the eye in Mastema's throne winds up speaking to Dust.
Yeah.
While he's there trying to steal the soul.
Because I saw that on the video, I'm like, oh, that's an eye. Oh,
it is an eye.
It's you know, it's comics. We see a circle with a dot in the middle. We don't see an eye the first thing all the time. I was like, that'd be kind of strange to have him have one of those. But yes, here is the Kickstarter, which, by the way, folks, you can access right below the video that you're watching right now. The first line will take you to this Kickstarter, so you can go out there and check it out. Throw some money at it if it's something that you're so inclined to do. But if you're a role player, I think you probably are. So Dust is. This is not Dust.
That is not Dust. That is Bella. So the characters are Dustin Spellbinder, who goes by Dust, Jericho Tolson, who's a general for the Federated Kingdom, but he has kind of been treated poorly for his original fight with the Godslayer, and he's been reduced to bodyguard. I said babysitter of the princess of the Federated Kingdom. Bella is a conjuration specialist. Like she summons weapons with her magic. So that's one of the things. She has the big, huge hammer, but that hammer doesn't weigh anything for her because it's her magic.
Yeah.
And she uses mostly shields and hammers throughout the series, but that'll grow too. And then there's Akara, and Akara is a half Nezumi, which is like a rat person. Her father was a rat person, and her mother was human. And she's Dust's best friend and most trusted comrade. And then there's the Godslayer. And this is him before he's possessed by the Yama King Mastema.
Okay. Because yeah, and he was the bad guy, kind of, sort of, you thought.
He was the bad guy, yes. And he died, I think, in the story, it's 5 years ago.
He's awfully active looking here for a dead Godslayer, but
so this is Dust actually in his soul, experiencing the moment that most tortures the Godslayer.
Now, the Godslayer is that's him or the sword?
So it's both. They call the Godslayer's. They call the sword the Godslayer's sword. He was the Godslayer. No one knew the name of the creature that became the Godslayer, and the only reason they know Mastema possessed him was because when they slayed, they didn't slaughter him. They fought him in battle and defeated him. Yes, there we go. When they defeated him, it released the Yama King that was possessing him into their plane of existence. And so the Godslayer's been entombed since his death, and Mastema has taken the place of the Godslayer.
Okay. I'm following. So it sounds like Mastema wanted that to happen all along. Says, would somebody kill this guy and free me to truly wreak some havoc on this world?
I get into that in Godslayers 3.
You gotta wait a little bit now.
So this ends the story of waking the Godslayer. In Godslayers 3, I open up with Mastema and some of the bad guys. And then I start telling Jericho's story. And this is our Mario A. Barraza cover. This is our interior artist. And he did a wraparound cover for this. I had designed a cover, and he was like, no, I have this great idea. I want to do a wraparound cover front and back. And I was like, please, like, run with it. And I love that cover. and all of my...
It's the Jericho tier.
Yes, and this is LC Fritas, the Godslayer Awakened cover.
Yeah, and he's all mummified up here, so it's like I didn't even know he was a dog at first. I just knew he had a weird body structure.
He's actually a kitsune whose body's been warped from the possession of the Yama King. Actually,
Okay.
I have, if you don't mind me showing it.
Oh, please share screens and stuff.
Let me grab.
The kitsune, that's like a fox spirit, right?
It is, but
Okay.
they're just humanoid foxes in Athenea, and they were actually fairly isolationist. Like they live off on their own. Let me get this out. I want to find the right page.
Sure. Pops, by the way, is inviting you to play on Friday mornings if you've got a spot open in your schedule. They've got one open in theirs.
On Friday
Mike Walker-
mornings?
Yeah, during that job day thing. That we all
Day
have.
job. Ugh.
No.
So we actually do a little bit of a reveal of what the Godslayer looked like before he was all mummified here. And that's his reflection.
Ooh.
In the window.
So
and there's
that's
actually
the,
this.
possession.
Yes. So his original form, he's a kitsune. He's weak and sickly. And I don't want to tell too much of the story, but something happens, and he gives his soul over to the Yama King for power, and betrays the world. And this is what he becomes once he gives himself over. And then we've already seen the mummified version of him after he's killed, and he was actually killed by Jericho, who's there in the tomb with them. That's where all the friction comes in between Jericho and Dust in the story.
Okay, so, but when he's killed and mummified, it seems like he's still pretty active after that.
That's because Dust raises him from the dead, quote unquote.
Yeah, he's a
And there's a
necromancer.
difference. He is a necromancer. They call him the Sanguine Sorcerer. And this shelf that the Godslayer's at is actually where his father's sword was, and we reveal later like the story for that, and that's what becomes the Godslayer's sword. There's a little sneak peek of the future.
I just feel like the sword is really important. It's like
it's really important.
It has side quest lighting all over it. So where are they going in issue 2 then? What is
so they still haven't left the tomb. So like I said, this I wanted to get more of the character story apart, especially out there for people to see, like especially Jericho's, because his is the next storyline I want to tackle. And I also reveal like some information about Dust that's important and his capabilities. Like it's he comes from a kingdom where they raise the dead all the time, and so he's, like I said, he keeps stuff really close to his chest, and so not everyone knows what's going on completely. Like they originally went to the tomb thinking they were going for the sword, and then it's revealed he has the sword. And now I reveal more of his intentions and why he's doing what he's doing, and I definitely tackle into Jericho's story a little bit more, because that friction's really important as we progress. It feels so slow to me. I want to just tell you everything.
They're in a tomb for 2 issues. We got to move these people along.
They are in a tomb for 2 issues. They are.
Okay, so what brings them together? Because they don't seem like they're people who are people persons, so to speak.
So Dust does. So Akara's been a friend of his for a long time. Bella gets a crush on Dust and really gets behind what his ambitions are, and he talks about his ambitions in this issue. And Jericho's along for the ride. He's not happy about it. He's dragged along out of duty.
Out of duty, okay. Dude, and I'm guessing his duty is to Bella.
His duty is to Bella. And he's
Yeah,
the one
I
that
knew
joined
it.
her in combat. So, and this is our Bella pinup cover, Elsie Fritas, and he did this one for me and was like, "I just did this because I love the character." And I was like, "No, let me pay you a little, man." And I paid him a little bit for that. And then we decided, like the BC guys I hang out with, the comic guys who are my kind of my mentors and helped me get started, they were like, "This needs to be a cover." And so I hit LC up and was like, "Hey, can I make this a cover?" And he was like, "Yes." And so here it
Absolutely.
is.
I just wanted to draw some boobs, but sure, show the world. But you know, as much as people say, yeah, comics are nothing but women and boobs, ladies, here we go.
Ladies or gentlemen, I don't care.
Yeah, this is true.
Whoever
It's
liked it.
2021, 23. It's
So,
the 21st century, RJ. Come on.
So this is Anne Araujo's cover. And the funny story behind this is I couldn't find a pose for it anywhere. I hunted forever and ever. And so finally I got fed up and was like, I just put on a shirt and was like, all right, this is me. And I'm like, Brenda, take a picture. Brenda's my wife. She's actually the voice from the video for this too. And I'm like, take a picture. And like, so when I was showing off the cover to a good friend of mine, like I had it stored in the same folder with the picture of me. And he's like, what is that? And I was like, no. And
you weren't supposed to see that.
They wound up teasing me at work and calling me Mr. December and stuff like that. It was so much fun. But yeah, sometimes I find I'm doing that even in the script I'm writing for the other comic book I work on. Like if I can't find the pose I'm looking for, I just pose for it and I'm like, take a picture.
Yeah, you are your best model. If you got somebody who can, run the camera for you.
Yeah,
Max
if you
at
want
Frosty
something
Press
that's hey Max, if you want exactly what you want, the best way to do it is just do it yourself.
Yep, that's always going to be the case. So
But
he doesn't really care that he's rubbing blood in his hair. If I had nice white hair like that, I would not want to get it all matted.
So the Sanguine Sorcerer had to have it in there. And this is kind of my jab to the girl pinup covers all the time. I was like, nah, I want a dude one.
Good, of course. I'm all for fair play and equal distribution of the fun. And of course, if you like dead dogs, then this is your pinup.
So this is our Pete Vasquez cover, and Pete's actually a really good friend of mine. He's one of the guys who's helped mentor me through my first book, and he didn't know this was going to be a cover. I apparently told everyone but him. And so when he sent me the actual artwork, like I have this artwork, it's a big Bristol board. Like beautiful piece. I'm gonna have it framed, and when I eventually get an office and I'm not just in a corner of my bedroom, like it'll be up there. And when I was like, yeah, I want to make this a foil cover. I love it. He's like, cover? What are you talking about? And so he fixed it up for me and got it ready to be a cover.
I would have done a much better job if you were told me it was gonna be a cover. Hang on, give me that back. We got to fix some things.
This is one of my favorite pieces. I love this thing. And he actually had to trade dress it for me. So like the top couple inches are not like where the title logo is and stuff. That didn't exist. Like he had to go in and fix it up so it was ready for a trade dress. And that logo is designed, like the color is specifically done just for this cover.
Okay.
To match. So.
Yep. And, so you got different tiers here. What all have we got in here before we look at the tiers? I mean, is this because I want to say I remember it being pretty simple when I looked at it earlier.
Yep. So I've got my PDF tier for GODSLAYERS episode PDF, which has our Mario A. Barraza main cover, of course, because I always release my PDFs with the main cover. And then I have our physical tier, which is the Akara tier, which is the interior artist's cover. And then I have the Jericho tier, which is the Elsie Fritas, the GODSLAYER Awakened cover.
Okay.
And then I have the Bella tier, which is the Elsie Fritas. Oh, and that cover, the Bella pinup, is colored by the artist who did the sexy Necromancer cover. That's Anne Araujo's coloring.
Okay, cool.
And
good job.
I really enjoyed working with my artists. They're all freaking super great. It was so much fun. And then I have the Dust tier next. which is the Sexy Necromancer cover. And then the Godslayer tier, which is Pete Vasquez's Godslayer variant. And then we have the Conquerors tier, which is all 5 books. If you wanted all 5
prices really
covers.
low on this.
I did my best. Like I know I'm missing Kickstarters and projects that I wanted to be a part of because I'm paying for comics, and comics are expensive.
Yeah. So you got the Godslayer for 15, and then you got the Silver Godslayer. This is the foil covered one.
This is the one I want. I wanted this foil, so it's up there.
Right. Oh, $30 for that. The Barraza tier.
So this is all the books by our interior, all the covers by our interior artist, and he did the main cover for Godslayers episode 1, and he did the 80s action cover variant, which I love, because it looks like an 80s movie poster, and I used to go to the movie places and buy those posters all the time, so my room was filled with them as a kid. And then his new cover for this one, the wraparound cover. And then I have the All Bella tier.
All Bella tier. You know she's selling books for you, right?
I do. I know. She definitely sells books for me. And then this one is this has Elsie Freitas's pinup. It has the fiery Greg Bo Watson pinup and the Courtney Rose pinup cover. That's the Godslayer and Bella. And so, or Bella and the Godslayer. And I actually have a limited number of those because I only had so many of Courtney Rose's covers left. And I won't be reprinting the Greg Bo Watson or the Courtney Rose covers. What I made is what'll exist.
Okay, so that's good though. I mean, I because with print on demand, the temptation is there. Says I need more, go print more. This is comics. It's it's a little bit collectible.
Well, and if I'm big in a couple years, it'll be cool that I have some limited stuff. My first run was really short. I'll be reproducing the main cover, but I won't be reproducing any of the variant covers for the first book, and I'm probably going to do the same with the second book. So.
Then you've got the Conquerors tier. Now this looks like it's a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. It's all 5 books. PDF for Godslayers episode 2, but none of the books for Godslayers episode 1. It's just it encapsulates everything in episode 2.
Okay, so it's all episode 2, and that's the last one.
No, I have the Silver Conquerors tier, which is the one with the foil. That's it.
Okay.
And so that one includes all 5 books and then a foil cover of the Godslayer variant.
So it's basically 6 copies of Godslayers 2, just different covers, right? There's no Godslayers 1 in this.
Yes, but the only difference in the Pete Vasquez Godslayer variant is one is foil.
Okay. For people who are completists, because there are such things.
I've been one. There have been several that I've backed where I was like, I have to have them all.
Yeah, and that's why y'all got to start doing a little bit of crossover material. So you cash in on everybody else's OCD fans. So it's like somebody who needs. I'm just gonna say Perfect 10 because it's on top of my mind right now. Perfect 10 makes an appearance in Godslayer for whatever reason. It doesn't fit. I know it's a stupid crossover if it was one, but everyone who's a Perfect 10 person is like, she's over there in that. Oh, I got to go get that book. And if Godslayer crosses over into Fiendish, then all the Godslayer fans are like, oh, there's a cameo in Fiendish. Well, I've got to go get that Fiendish book. Sell each other's books and profit together.
I will tell you, man, there are like 3 things that I think are the coolest things that could happen as a creator. A crossover for me would be awesome. There's a couple of artists that, like, when I can afford to hire those artists, that's going to be freaking awesome. And then fan art. The idea that someone would produce fan art of your characters. Whenever I see someone get fan art, I'm like, that's the dream.
Yeah. People are thinking about your stuff. And it struck a chord, and we're like, if you're an artist and you're like, I want to draw that guy's character. Even if you're just like a want to be artist sitting in high school class somewhere, doodling in your sketchbook, your character is what's running through the back of their mind during that time is impressive. Max says always, never. Max, that doesn't help. never reprint your variants. Reprint your standard cover. That's atrocity. Press policy so far, and I think that's a good policy. You want your fans to know that when you say something's limited, it's limited, so that when you do the next book and you're like, hey, only gonna be 50 of these, they know, they trust you. They're not gonna go to eBay later and like, there's 75 of them on sale right now of a run that was limited to 50. What's going on here?
So I think I only have 3 left of Mario's variant. So the Barraza tier, there's only 3 of those, and then I'm out of books for that one. And then I think for the Bella tier, I had 11, and I've sold a few of them already.
Yeah, you've got 8 left of these 11. So when they're gone, you're out of one or two of the Bella covers.
I'm out of the Courtney Rose cover. That'll be the last of them.
That's some good looking stuff. So how long is the Godslayer epic in your mind? I mean, how much do you have a plan for the end of it, or the continuation of it rather?
I have a plan for the end of it, but to be fair, like I didn't even know that Waking the Godslayer was going to be 2 issues. So I originally wrote this as an anime script for Netflix.
Oh, okay.
And I wrote it as like a 45-minute episode, and
30 minutes later, they were still in the tomb. No,
well, they were leaving the tomb at the end of the first episode.
Yeah, it was a very active 15 minutes at the end, guys.
But I mean, money's a real thing, and so it wound up being 24 pages for the first book, and I wasn't out of the tomb yet, and so the next episode, I think it'll take 2 or 3 issues. I've got the first one partially written out, and I'm not. The next story arc I think will be 2 or 3 issues. So Mario and I, when we signed up to do this together, he said he was in for 10 issues and we'd see from there. And I'm hoping that's just so he can negotiate terms of money if it's kicking ass, and that he's going to stick around after that. But we'll see where it goes, If I can run it if I can run it till the end and it's 25 issues, I'll run 25 issues,
Ride that monkey into the dirt, they say.
For me, I just want to tell the story. So this story is like a passion project for me as much as it is like. So my brother and I, like, he had this thing about good guy necromancers, and we used to argue it all the time because he's a huge D&D guy and good guy necromancers, and Dust was born from that. I was trying to figure out how you could be a good guy necromancer, and Dust was born from that, and the Godslayer was born after that, just to play alongside Dust, and the story just grew up from there. And when I wrote the script, like, I shared it with him, and he loved it, and was all into the idea that maybe we could work together on it. And he loved the characters, and he was going to teach me all the D&D tropes and powers and stuff like that. And he passed away like I think 8 months after that. He's been gone for 3 years now. And when I started hanging out and watching, Larry Higgins is the guy I was following. Like, that guy was my inspiration to get into this, Niobe and stuff like that. And
yeah, I know Larry.
When I decided I wanted to do a comic, I pulled that script out and was like, here's this thing that I was afraid was just going to wind up on a stack somewhere at Netflix, forgotten, and I can do this, and so I hit him up, and he started, giving me advice and telling me if I was for real, he'd take a look at it. And I just wanted to be for real, I want to tell stories. It's what I've been doing since 1994 with game mastering, and now my audience is just a little larger, I hope,
Oh, yeah. Now, the Godslayer's dead. You named the series Godslayers. So,
yes.
So how's that going to work? I mean, well, it's plural now, so.
So, Mastema nearly succeeded in slaying the 9 gods of the realm. and the nearly succeeded is so. Here, let me grab this real quick.
I mean, my thought was that, okay, the questing team here takes on that name for themselves. They are Godslayers. I'm like, okay, but what, are you going to like quest after gods now and slay them?
So Mastema is the equivalent of a god in their world. He is a powerful Yama King from the Thousand Hells, and so right there. So that necklace is important. So if you look at it, it's 9 points for the 9 gods of the realm, and then it's open at the top for the god that survived.
Oh, okay. So 8 gods are dead.
8 gods are dead and 1 survived. And then what Mastema? Oh man, I'm gonna give you like the whole story if I don't. Mastema's train of reign of terror had an intent, and that was, oh man, I want to tell you so bad, RJ, but then no one would read my book. You'd already know the story.
You already know the story. Okay, so there's a plan. The bad guy has a plan. The bad guy's not dead yet, but there's a lot of gods that are dead. Did they all die in issue 1, or is this like lore?
So this is backstory. This is lore.
Okay.
And this will come out through my series. Like, this is all storylines I want to tell. I like I said, I get into Mastema's motivation in the next issue. Right off the bat, I'm opening up with Mastema. And so one of my stretch goals is the reveal of Mastema as a chibi sticker. Like if we reach that
as an object, okay.
Oh yeah, it's a sticker. But it'll reveal the appearance. It'll be the first appearance of Mastema, my main villain. Otherwise, they'll have to wait for episode 3.
I thought in the story, it was like, and we're going in to take in Mastema, and there he is, like in the corner. He's just a little guy.
No, Mastema's a big, huge guy. And yeah, I'll get into that in issue 3. I got a lot of story to tell with Mastema and his troop, as much as the Godslayers themselves. So
I do like what I've been seeing of the art. It's got that anime flair to it, that manga kind of flair.
Mario's awesome. Like, so I told you I'm a role player, and I run Changeling the Dreaming, and one year for Christmas I decided I wanted to do an image of the party for my players. Mario's work had been in my face for a while. I've been watching him, and he was doing Patreon work, and I know he's done animation, and he was working on a comic book, but I hired him to do 7 characters for me, and it was gorgeous. It's hanging on my living room wall right now. And since then I've done 5 other pieces with him. And then one day like I said, I'd been watching Larry, and I wanted to do a book, and I hit him up and was like, do you want to do a comic book? And he was like, nah, man, I'm already doing one.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm doing? I'm over here at Antarctic Press, dude.
So, and I'm a patient dude. So I was just like, if anything happens, let me know. I'd love to do a comic book with you. And he hit me back, I think it was a couple months later, and was like, you still want to do a comic book? And I was like, hell yeah, I still want to do a comic book. and we started working on Godslayers. I jumped in head first too, man. I think we did Godslayers episode 1. I'd never produced a book before. He had done a couple like books with friends and little books, and we finished it in 7 or 8 months. And all we had left to do when we kickstarted it was the lettering.
So you had never written a comic book before, though. I mean, you hadn't. Your storytelling was all game mastering, unless I missed something here. So
nope. You got it right.
So that moment that you bring up blank page, you're like, I'm writing something different now, and you have to really visualize everything, because you got to control page turns, you've got to control impact of a surprise scene at the right moment. How did you prepare for that? I mean, did you go get the books, the Bibles of writing comics, and immerse yourself in it?
So to be honest, I just looked up on the internet like some scripting, and I was like, oh, I already have this as a script.
Yeah.
And then I sent it to Mario, and Mario was like, "Whoo, you think you could do like some layouts of this for me?" And I was like, "You want me to draw it?" And he was like, "Yeah." And so I draw it first in like stick figures and silhouettes.
That's what mine would be with stick figures.
In panels. Oh, I'll show you that if you want to see it.
Go for it. Go for it. So what's this horse doing here? No, that's her holding the sword. Like, I see it
I
now.
wish
Yeah.
it looked like a horse. So I'd like to think I've gotten a little better too, you know, as we go along. But I don't envy Mario turning my work into all right, here we go. And
When I wrote my first comic script, I couldn't just write it. I actually had to sit down and draw the panels because of I'm losing the visual in my head. So it was easier to just draw the panels and then translate it to script.
So the scripting, I can visualize it in my head. Okay. So there we go. There's my beautiful paneling. Oh, and my first page of GODSLAYERS 1's like 21.
Yeah, that looks kind of like what I was doing.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't envy Mario like turning it into the beautiful thing he does from what I give him.
But you got this. That's a unique panel kind of layout there. This is like, it's like rooms in a house that's on fire.
Well, and so check this out. So I send Mario page 1, right? And the first thing he does is write back to me and be like, is every page going to have that many panels on it? And I'm like, no, man. There's just a lot of action to get through, to set up for page 2.
Like, and
he's like, okay.
15-inch pages here.
And so I've kept my paneling at much less of an enumeration since then.
It's an art to know how to do it right, and how when you're overdoing it, and when to overdo it. Sometimes you want to overdo it.
For sure. Yeah.
Want to remind everybody, top of the hour, Mike Walters will be kicking off the mic stand over at his channel, so do head over there for everything in niche news from anime, manga, comics, and professional wrestling, which I'll be taking off here at 9 p.m. Eastern in about 14 minutes. So the Kickstarter, which is still right there, when does this run out? That's what I need to look at.
May
25
1st.
days ago, you just started.
Yep. And I'm
you're
a little
already
over
almost
a third of the
halfway
way
there.
there. Yeah.
That's very good. I mean, so I lost my train of thought. I was like, I had something exciting to think about, and I was like, oh, it's gone.
When that happens to me, I always say pennies on the track.
Yeah, and then they get smashed flat. I used to do that with the train tracks that ran through my small town. Run up there and put a penny on there and run back. And
I did that down here in Reno too. They're hard as heck to find.
They are, because they fling. They're like, Joe, did you see where that penny went? Joe, why are you bleeding, Joe?
That's one of the things I love about where I live is every now and then you can hear the train whistles.
Oh, I don't mind it when they're in the distance.
They're in the distance.
I lived across the street.
Oh no!
Near the crossing. So it was like I heard it coming, heard it going by, heard it going to the next crossing. It was just horn all the way through at 3 a.m. Believe it or not, you do get to the point where you don't hear it anymore. Even when they're there, your mind just says, "We don't. That's not important. Go back to sleep."
I lived in California for a while next to a river, and yeah, the same thing.
Yeah.
You hear it all the time. Eventually, you just don't hear it.
So what are your plans for to hit this goal? I mean, you hit the last goal, right? You didn't have to redo things.
I did. I hit the last goal, and this goal is even lower than the last one, because I reduced the prices I'm charging for books because, like I said, they're Kickstarters I wanted to back that I couldn't afford, and so I mean, just promote.
So,
and
how
looking
big
for
are
shows.
these books?
Huh?
How big are these books? Are they like 24 pages?
24 pages, yes.
Nailed it. We got to get you on more shows. I'll hand you over to Pops, and he'll just pass you around the madness like a fatty. Get you on different shows there. Of course, CromCon's coming up at the end of the month, but that's be right at your closeout time.
And then I have Silver Age Comic Con July 8th here in Reno. And
so you'll be taking copies of number 1 there.
Number 1 and number 2, yeah. If I get.
Wait a second now. Wait a second. When's this Comic Con?
It's in Reno, July 8th, but it's like 7 hours.
You'll have books by then, sure.
Yeah. This will be my first time going as a vendor. So I'm nervous and excited.
Yeah, it's fun. I hate going as a vendor if I don't have a partner, because then I can't go to panels and I can't go around and be a con goer. I just have to stay at my table the whole time and watch everybody else have fun.
Well, I'll be sharing the table with, I'll be sharing 2 tables with 2 other guys. B.A. Turner, who's doing Vigilante's Creed. He's a good friend of mine in real life, and he'll be sharing a table with me. And then Cameron, Sketchy Guy Nevada, and he's got Professor G and Blake and the Sisters Wolf comic coming. They'll be sharing a table with me, and these are guys I hang out with pretty regularly at Coffee and Comics here in Reno, and we work on stuff. I have a logo done that I'm going to make stickers of that I'll be putting on my product when I send it out. That was done by Cameron. So they're an awesome couple of guys. So I'm hoping to get to take a look around too.
Your title logo rocks, and that's I'm surprised you didn't have stickers of this to put into the campaign as like a stretch goal of some kind.
That's actually a really good idea.
I had to stop myself to say it rocks because I almost said it slays. I'm like, no.
Oh, slays would have been good. I would have laughed. I'm dad jokes all the way.
But yeah, I mean, you know, this is the sword. This is the Godslayer sword right here, and this is not a katana blade of any kind. This is a big. I mean, it's in size wise. I think it's like the entire length of Bella.
It's a buster sword for a 9-foot monster. So yeah.
Yeah. And when she's holding her swords, she reminds me of Ruby, because it's like, here's this little girl with this great big weapon. I'm like,
oh, she's got the hammers. That sword's the Godslayer's weapon.
Yeah, but she's still got the big hammers.
Oh, she's got a huge one in episode 2 that she pulls out to make a point. Like, and that's the thing is, huh?
Are they physical weapons that she just kind of?
No, she conjures them with her magic, and so they don't weigh anything to her. But like Thor's hammer, no one else will be able to pick them up unless they can synchronize with her magic.
Okay, I just didn't know if they were like. I knew she was conjuring them, but I didn't know if she was conjuring gold and steel and silver, or if she was, it was energy in the shape of a hammer.
It's energy in the shape of.
Okay, so a Green Lantern kind of thing then.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you could consider his stuff magic too.
Yeah, it's well, the first one was actually, wasn't he? The Golden Age Green Lantern.
I'm not sure. I always thought it was alien technology. So.
Well, that was the retcon. That was the retcon. They thought it was magic, but it was a piece of the original Green Lantern Corps Green Lantern thing. It was connected somehow. So what is this? What is Dust doing here? Because it's like, is he sticking these? Is this acupuncture on a beetle? What's going on?
So that is actually Mastima's throne, and he's the Yama King of Betrayal. And so when he sits down in his throne, he's stabbed in the back.
Oh. So he
So
doesn't sit a
even
whole lot.
in Athenea, though, he sits in it all the time. Well, not this one because he hasn't been in the oh my goodness, the Realm of Betrayal. It's off the top of my head. So he has a realm in Thousand Hells, and I think it's called the Torment of Betrayal. Sorry, and so he hasn't been in the Torment of Betrayal since he possessed the Godslayer almost 2 decades ago.
And dust has climbed up here and blinded the throne.
Yes. So Mastima's one of Mastima's abilities, he has these eyes, and he can actually take them out of his body and place them places, or put them in people and creatures and watch through them. Again, I play into the worried about being betrayed thing,
Yeah.
you know? Like, that's his theme. And even
So
his
dust is
throne in
covering it and just
Athenea
sticking.
has these blades in it that he sits down in that stabs him in the back.
That's masochism.
Well, you say that, but my main character, the Sanguine Sorcerer, has scars all over his arms and hands from cutting himself
Which
to
we
cast
see
magic.
as we scroll right here,
Yep.
because he's using his own blood as a source for magic, and this is I'm following it. I'm following it better now as we're talking through it, because I can see, he's coming over, he's doing the magic on the bones, and then poof, he's back in the looking back into the history of the dead person. This being the Godslayer.
And so in that torment, they actually take the Godslayer's soul and give it physical form and torment it, and then leave it to sit and come back to do it again later.
Oh yeah, rinse,
And
lather,
this
and
is
repeat.
and this is where he's at when he's just the soul, which is what Dust is there to take.
All right, this is there's a lot going on in this, folks.
It is a plot driven story, and I'm only on issue 2, and so I want to do this, so there's more to come. I'm gonna get there.
What are your what's your time management plan for doing this more than once a year?
I'm hoping to finish the next one in half the time that I finished Godslayers episode 2, with
there's nothing
Godslayers.
wrong with the year between. We've seen
Yeah.
people go 3 years between, and still do it.
If I can get it down to 6 to 8 months, 6 to 8 months, that's my goal. And like I said, I had been working on a second title to do called well, I don't want to name that book because I don't own it yet, but or I don't have it protected yet.
Yeah.
But I had been
Sure.
working on a second title. I have title logos, I have pages, I have character concepts, tons of them, but things just didn't jive with me and an artist to the point of where I could complete the book. And my goal was to do one and then do the other. And when it stalled out, I just turned my focus back to getting Godslayers finished. But my time frame had been to do another book between Godslayers episode 1 and Godslayers episode 2, and so that slowed me up too. And so
Life
now
happens.
I'm just focused on Godslayers episode 2, and then writing scripts for the other book I'm doing. So
Well, people are coming in to take a look at this. I mean, B.A. Turner's here. You talked about Vigilante's Creed earlier. Corey Barton is here to tell you that Bella pinup looks awesome. So,
so Corey,
that's like Rembrandt walking into your art class saying, "You got some talent there."
Corey has already done a cover for Godslayers episode 3. We're getting colors on it right now, and that's all my villains introduced. So I'm looking forward to, like, this year I want to be a little more active on the Tenebris Anima Facebook page, and so I'll be revealing some of that stuff. There's Larry. So I'll be revealing some of that stuff throughout the year too, instead of hanging on to it and waiting until I'm ready to launch to reveal some stuff. So we've got some other stuff in works, and I want to share some more stuff too. And then like I have all my Godslayer stickers, like these guys.
Oh, yeah, I gotta have those.
These are my chibis. These are stretch goals, and they're die cut vinyl stickers. And I've already
okay.
got 3 of the bad guys for Godslayers episode 2. And I'm putting together Godslayer trading cards that'll be stretch goals for Godslayers episode 2 with art by Zach Raw, who did one of the prints I have for Godslayers episode 2. I can show you those prints too. Those are great.
Yeah, bring them up. Now,
So
as a role-playing guy, are you looking at doing this as a game?
I'm not opposed to it. So we play White Wolf games, but we have I homebrewed a system years ago, and to expand the game, because White Wolf, if you've ever played it, like it's a really like small character sheet, and I think the game I'm running right now is run 2.5 years, and everyone was mastering everything so super fast that I had to like expand the character sheet and build kind of my own system on how that worked. And I've been looking at the possibility of making a role-playing game out of that for a while, but I had kids and I don't have the wherewithal to sit down and write all that stuff just yet.
Sure.
Maybe in the future someday when writing's my job instead of building medical equipment. But
you said you had kids. That totally explains a year between books.
Well, my youngest daughter is graduating this year. So
okay.
I've almost
You look like you're out of high school yourself a couple years. What are you talking about? She's graduating.
I'm 43, man.
Dude, I would have pegged you like 21, 23.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. But no, I'm 43 years old. My oldest son has 2 kids of his own. I have 2 grandbabies.
Oh my God.
Good living, man. I don't know.
Good,
my only vice is smoking cigarettes, so I might
those will kill you.
I might still die young.
Right here. I get my one a day.
Yeah, I don't drink. I've never done any drugs.
Yeah,
like it's just not my thing, so here we go. So that is Zach. Oh, hide this thing. That is Zach Raw's Reflections print, and that's one of the stretch goals on Godslayers episode 2. And I have trading cards in work with Zach, so I've already gotten Akara and Dust. I'm not ready to reveal those yet, but I have those guys, and we'll be working on Bella this month. And money working out for me okay. Like I'll be pursuing the other 2 characters before long. And
you talked about having people do fan art of your stuff and how you feel like you really made it when that happens. I'll tell you when you'll really feel it is when you go to a convention and somebody's cosplaying. When you look up and your character is walking to your table.
That sounds odd. Now there's 4 things on my list.
Yeah, make that a bigger bucket.
So, and then we have, if I can get the thing to come back up, Fern Cord did the Godslayer Simpsons mashup for me.
Oh, I love that.
So this started out, Fern was doing like a weekend where he was doing these for $25 a pop, I think. And all the BC guys were grabbing them for their characters. And you'll see Larry post the girls of the BC, which would be Niobe and Mary Machine Gun and Bella and I think it's Rain from Reign of Ages. And he'll post those 4 girls. But when I saw this, I was like, hey, Fern, like, I want to do all of them. And, like, this is a little reveal of the Godslayer. He'll be wearing the cloak in later issues.
Wait a second. He's dead. You said he's dead. Why is he coming back in later issues?
You'll have to read Godslayers episode 2, Waking the Godslayer.
Okay. It's like, yeah, we killed the title character in the first book, but not really. Okay.
So no, he's dead. But again, Dust is a necromancer.
I know I keep forgetting that part of it, but still, when I hear he's dead, I'm like, character's gone. Forget about that character now. Oh, we got this guy. He's a necromancer. Was he just keep popping him back up when they need him? So you can go back to bed now.
So this is Anna Araujo's print that'll be released. The one on the Kickstarter's trade dressed. It has the logo on it, and it actually has a red logo on it because it looked really good with the art. And she did the sexy necromancer cover, the dust cover, and she did this print, The Girls, for Godslayers Episode 2, which is one of our stretch goals. I really loved working with Anne. Like, I had to get another piece from her after the dust piece. So
you've got some great artists, and you know that's a thing of luck for a comics writer, because sometimes you just don't get an artist you mess with or mesh with, not mess with, and to have that kind of collaborative peace and harmony going between the writer and the artist it's a wonderful thing.
I've gotten super lucky. Myonis Doodles, who did the chibi stickers, awesome to work with, so much fun to work with. Anne Araujo, who did the sexy necromancer cover and the girls print that'll be on Godslayers Episode 2, like, awesome to work with. She even colored Elsie Fritas's cover. I told her I wanted sunset colors and she nailed it. She's so much fun to work with. Pete Vasquez, like, he's a good friend of mine. I love the way that the Godslayer variant turned out, and I've bought a bunch of art from him that I have at my house, and when my office is set up, it'll all be on my wall behind me and around me, along with all my pop shelves out of my bedroom, so my wife doesn't have to look at them. And then LC, like, I've been a huge fan of LC since long before I created Godslayers. I've been following, like, he does his Halloween Witches and his Space Girls, and all of them are freaking great. And then, of course, Mario and I, we meshed so well. There were barely any edits for Godslayers Episode 2. Now, I mean, we took a long time to do it, but, like, we were vibing. Like, when he was doing the pages, they were just coming out amazing. Zach is fairly new working with me, but I've been watching his art for a while, and I love working with that guy. Corey, we've only done one piece together, but I'm already looking to do another one with him because I just love the art so much.
Like, I was surrounded for weeks by Corey Barton artwork because I had all those Kozor issues and prints in the house. So I'm like, the world was the Barton brothers for a long time. Fantastic looking stuff.
Oh yeah, like, it came out amazing. Like, it captured those villains. So, and like I said, Mai's done my villains too. The girl who did the chibi art, Myonis Doodles, she's already done the three of the 5 villain chibis from Godslayers Episode 2 for me.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm having so much fun getting the artwork too.
So here's where I say the thing that I say to creators that I haven't trademarked yet, but it's my thing. Here's the thing you ought to do all the time. You've already shown us the little necklace with the 9 points. Okay. Remember those Panini sticker books that you'd get and you would, like, open them up and they're like, all the stickers are at the back on a sheet that you peel off, but you open it up, it's like, here's the background scene. Here's the world of My Little Ponies. And they're frolicking. And you got the little white space of a pony. You're like, you got to find the sticker that goes on that white space and you complete the little picture.
Would you think less of me if I told you I did Ninja Turtle ones and X-Men ones and Spider-Man ones?
Yeah, I did color forms. I was able to reuse my stuff. But you get a sheet, bigger than a backing board, but not super huge. And you print that 9-pointed star necklace design on it. And then as you go along with campaigns, you put out a chibi of one of the 9 gods that goes on a specific point and collect it on the card. So you have people coming back because they haven't got their gods card filled yet.
That's not a bad idea.
You save that surviving god for last because he's a surprise.
I'm gonna give you another hint. She.
Okay. So that's for free. They're always for free. Some people actually do them, some people don't. I never check.
It's a cool idea. That would be something that I'd want to save probably for when I start telling the backstories of the gods and stuff like that, and how they. Yeah,
I've had people come on campaigns before, on shows before, and they're like, on their third or fourth issue, and they've got something in there. I'm like, oh, this thing you got here, this is really cool. And they're like, yeah, that's what you said to do last time. I'm like, that's why it's really cool.
It's taking everything I have not to go to my phone and add that to my notes, but I'm doing that when we're done here.
well, you can do that now because we are at the top of the hour, so a little bit past it. But this was fun. I can tell that you've got the passion for this story. This is something you enjoy doing. And it's contagious. So you want to get on as many shows as you can and infect people through the airwaves with that enthusiasm so that they want to get in there and get some Godslayers in their life.
So
I will go.
Yes. So I've been I told you I've been role playing for years, right? We play for 8 hours every Sunday. Every Sunday. From noon to 8.
Okay.
Every Sunday. So if you can't get a hold of me on a Sunday, that's what I'm doing. I'm game mastering.
You're eating during all this time, right? I mean.
Oh yeah, eating, drinking, not alcohol, but I drink.
Yeah, sure.
But you.
Yeah. And the cool thing about role playing is that you don't have to worry about spilling anything on the game board because
we once put together that if we took our 8 hours and the years we've been playing and broke it down into 30-minute segments. I have more time game mastering storylines than there are Simpsons episodes.
Oh, and there's a lot of Simpsons.
There are a lot of Simpsons episodes.
I sit there and think sometimes about when I first saw the Simpsons. I was like, I first saw the Simpsons when they were 5-minute shorts on the Tracy Ullman show in 1989.
I was 9.
Yeah, I was in college. I was in college in my apartment. I was married to my first wife, and watching Tracy Ullman because she was funny. I don't get these little yellow characters, but they do some crazy things. And to think that they just took off and have gone 30+ years now.
It's insane.
Yeah, South Park's not far behind them.
They're not. They have a ton of episodes too. I remember I was still in high school when I saw the first episode of South Park. Cartman gets an anal probe, and I watched it right after Dr. Katz. I remember Dr. Katz. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I was 19, maybe younger.
I thought I had seen the end all be all of offensive cartoons with Beavis and Butthead, but South Park just elevated the whole thing. They got grosser and they got younger. It's like that just double widened the whole divide.
I've only seen the first 2 seasons of South Park. It's not really something I watch. I've definitely seen the first 27 seasons of The Simpsons.
I've missed a lot, but recently I was we do reviews on our website and stuff, so they reached out again for the last 2 seasons, which one season was 2 episodes, because it was the COVID season, and then it was the post-COVID special, and those 2 together are like a movie, and it's like the Terminator, because it's like during the COVID, they're kids and they're out of school, and they're dealing with stuff, and then there's like this cliffhanger, and then there's the post-COVID special. It's like suddenly they're adults and their lives have gone in these different directions, but one of them's invented time travel, and they've got to go back to the COVID thing to fix what went wrong with the rest of their lives. It was hilarious, and I'd skipped it for decades too, because okay, you get that joke 5 times, you know where it's going. But this was interesting. Has absolutely nothing to do with tonight's show, folks. So don't rush out and get the South Park vaccination special on my say so. save your money for GODSLAYERS. You don't need that much. $15 will get you any one of these tiers, really, unless you want to go in for, to be a completionist and get a full set of different covers, which if you're a comic collector, do that. I'm a comic collector. I do that all the time. I just don't have the space to do it with a whole lot of stuff now. But
I did that with Reign of Ages #1, and there was another one, Human Hunters #1.
Yeah, both of which are really good books. I'll tell you, if you like those titles, I would direct you to Mike Tiener and Bad Bug Media, because they're doing books like Vanya, the Jungle Queen, Jungle Warrior, and Death Knell.
Okay.
But they're all but I will warn you, they are all much more mature than the titles you just mentioned. So your kids are grown up. Never mind, Dad can do what he wants now. Because Death Knell particular is like, about a girl who's in like an Addams Family kind of school, but she's just like, we'll say, distracted all the time about thoughts in her head and daydreams about her teacher and things like that, which turns out is perfectly natural because she is a succubus, she finds out. So it's kind of her job to have those feelings and put them in others. So check them out. I think you'll like them. Mike, you owe me beer.
Mike, you owe me a beer.
You need to come back on my show, Mike. We haven't been on here in a long time. We missed Bad Bug, so we're going to get them back on soon. Then you can see them. I don't know what Vic was trying to link here, but it was a YouTube clip, and he said, "Oh, it was the wrong link." And, so we didn't highlight it. Don't know where it was going to go. It's YouTube, so I assume it's safe, but I'm not taking responsibility for it. Nathan, thanks so much for coming on the show, man. It's been fun talking with you. Love what I'm hearing about the book. Looking forward to seeing it get fulfilled, get funded. Folks, you can make that happen. The link is right below this chat. Been there the whole time. Click it, throw some money at it, get yourself some comics, and get this thing funded. Help another creator realize their dream of making comics. And then, it'll be your turn to do the same thing. Folks in the chat, thank you so much for being here tonight. We do not have a show without you. We're just a podcast falling in the woods otherwise. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.